Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Answering the Bell with Stormybman, our Sunday morning call-in for this Sunday, February 18th, 2024. And this is number 108 in the series of call-ins. I want to say welcome, good morning, and I hope that you have been brought up in your right frame of mind this morning. Stormybman is dealing with some really heavy issues. I was thinking about pulling out of this show this morning, but I'm here trying to do what I normally do because it's all encompassing. You know, we take things in, we deal with trials, and I come to y'all a little heavy this morning, but at the same time, I'm trying to persevere, push through. You never know what someone may be going through. You never know what faces ahead. Even a smile can be a blanket. And I'm being shown so many ways on different fronts that it's time to really take note of things. You know, this is a boxing show. We talk about the fights that may have happened the evening or a couple of evenings before. We talk about the fights on the horizon. We talk about the news in the sport that goes down presently. And there's always something going on, right? There's always. But there are those who kind of like dwell on a specific subject or personality, and they just kind of make that their content. I've tried to be a little more versatile and it really, for the most part, goes unappreciated, but at the same time, as I've always maintained, I try to stay in my lane. My lane. I'm not trying to force others into my lane. I'm not trying to determine that that's the best lane for you. But I see a lot that goes on out there, and I just kind of like shrug my shoulders, shake my head. It's rough. We all have a cross to bear. We got a few eyes on us this morning, but only a couple of the family have decided to greet in the chat. We got Jay Gibson out there. Salute to you, Jay. And my brother Antonio MMA. Salute to you as well. No doubt, being members of the channel as well as subscribers, at least you have that little bit of show of support that, hey, at least you're here, you know? Stormybman appreciates that. Others who decide to just be looking, you know, I wish your eye could be put out, because I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what you're looking at. You know? Yeah, Antonio, absolutely. And they don't care about the stench or the taste. And as I say what I'm saying, the numbers are increasing. See, you guys, you can't see the numbers like I can, but it's ridiculous. Haha, Jay Gibson, he says, I just got my shirt too, and it's dope. Feels good too. Which one did you get, Jay Gibson? Which shirt did you get, brother? Which one? Because there are several now, and I hope that 2024 is more prosperous with the movement of the merchandise. To be perfectly honest, it really hasn't been moving, and that's unfortunate, because it's good quality stuff, and everybody that has contacted me who has received something has been very pleased with the merchandise. So, oh, okay. That's what's up, man. The gray F+. Yeah. Yeah. See, I haven't talked about where the proceeds and everything for the merchandise goes, but it's like, I'm not out here trying to shake anybody down. But you guys need to know that a man that tries to be prosperous and industrious, there should be purpose behind that. And I do have my reasons, but I really appreciate the genuine support from those who have done something, And the merchandise is good enough that you can get multiple items. You don't have to just limit yourself. And I know budgets can be limited. I'm not trying to say break the bank, but I'm saying to explore the variety, because there's quality in all of it. All of it. So, my man, 704 Joe is in the building. What's good with you, 704? I appreciate you stopping in. Straight out of Dallas, Texas. Yes, sir. That means a lot there, Jay Gibson. You have no idea, bro. You have no idea. You see, The foolishness starts early, man. It gets up before you do sometimes. Gets up before you do sometimes. I want to send a special shout out to Dr. Mark, who gave me a call a few days ago. And Dr. Mark talked to me. We had a nice conversation, heavy conversation. And he dropped some encouraging words on me. And it's at times like, specifically right now, that his words resonate to the degree that it brings me to a place to thank him once again. Because like I said, as opening this show, you never know what somebody's going through. And just one small tidbit of positivity and uplifting can take a person so much further. Jay Gibson, I have that F+ in the black, and I like it. It's pretty cool. So I'm glad you got yours and you're happy with it. How many of you guys saw the Thursday night fights, man? There were fights on DAZN as well as ESPN. And since, once again, boxing magnificently overlapped the broadcast, I was only able to watch one and tune into the other later. But my findings were both cards were not only exceptional with the main events, action-packed, but fighters that don't normally get a lot of shine. But both cards delivered so well, which is why, again, it brings me to the lack of understanding. Why couldn't one of those networks just put a fight on Saturday night? I don't understand that. We had no real fights Saturday night. There were other sports, but it would have been nice to be able to sit down and fully enjoy those cards separately. But I enjoyed them very well. And the one that I elected to watch Friday night was the Foster versus Nova main event, where O'Shaquie Foster won a split decision in defending his WBC super featherweight title against Abraham Nova. These two men, I did the breakdown video. I thought that the fight would be highly contested. I thought that their styles would match up well. They're the same age. They're in their primes. And this is what happens when boxing delivers these matches. Just amazing. The other fight that was on the Zone was the rematch between Sivnaithi Nanshinga, who had lost just in November to what's his name, Adrian Curiel, and Curiel knocked him out in 2 rounds in their first fight. And many people didn't think that this was enough time for Nanshinga to come back after being knocked out so devastatingly. And that fight proved to be a phone booth war with Nanshinga stopping Curiel in their rematch, which means that maybe these two will face each other a third time at some point in their careers. But what an amazing display of boxing for both cards. I'm not talking about who presented them, ESPN and DAZN. Those networks can take a hike, but the matches themselves, the participants, the combative warriors who faced one another, gave boxing exactly what it needs. Antonio, these fights were on Friday. They were on Friday night, the 16th. They were on Friday night, both cards, and they came on at the same time, which is, again, you know, these guys, they do it to themselves. But then they want to turn around and say the boxing fans don't do this and the boxing fans aren't that, you know. But they do this. Why do you think that the NFL will put AFC games on at one time and NFC games on at another time? So no matter what city you are in, you get a chance to watch your favorite AFC or NFC game. Sometimes those games are on at the same time when the schedule permits. Sometimes, because they might have a flood of games that they're trying to get through the season, so they'll put some on. But for the most part, you get an AFC game at one time of the day, the NFC game at another time of the day. I'm talking about what's televised. If you got the NFL Network, you could watch whatever you want. There's my brother, Flawless Mentality and Black Excellence, hosted by Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark, I was just a moment ago giving credit to you for your phone conversation with me a few days ago, in which you brought me some uplifting spirit out of our conversation, and I was just paying homage to that with appreciation. Yeah, Jay Gibson, Keyshawn Davis had a heck of a performance when he fought. Yeah. But that brother Shushu Carrington, man, from New York, you guys better keep your eyes on Shushu Carrington. That stoppage that he got over his opponent, Carrington, he hit that guy with a short right hook that was Ray Robinson-like. I mean, was there some voltage in that punch or what? Now I'd like to see him get out of New York and start fighting somewhere else. There's a history of the New York fighters. I talked to some of my brothers out here about that, especially like my brother Drew Titan, where I brought something to his attention about these fighters. And once I pointed out to him what I had to say about that, he hadn't thought about it that way, and he showed an appreciation for me calling something to his attention. And I'm not going to do that on the air right now, because too many of you young folks today get in your feelings about critique. But just know that when you hear me say he needs to get out of New York and start fighting somewhere else, it's great to have a fan base and a platform where you launch. But start moving around. It's imperative that you see what else is out there beside where you're from. Yeah. And then also on these matches we saw this past weekend, Friday night, we saw more of the judges imposing themselves on these matches once again. I mean, going all the way back to the Jojo Diaz fight. What happened there? And then we saw, like last week, the Jermaine Ortiz decision against Teofimo. And then even this Friday with O'Shaquie Foster's decision over Nova. That was not a split decision, people. That was a fight where Foster won that fight. But getting back to Carrington briefly, I feel that he has earned the right to step up and fight a veteran now. A veteran fighter who has been a quality contender. And then after that, someone who's a former champion. Because I do believe you can impede his progress if you continue to feed him guys that he's definitely, definitively better than. We're seeing a little bit too much of that in boxing right now. And salute to the brother, Counter Local Sports and Opulent LD. They were talking similarly on a subject about that, about some of these young men being moved better and properly this morning on his Swamp Show. So I want to, salute those brothers for that conversation they were having. I was listening while preparing this morning. So yeah, I agree. Some of these young fighters need to have challenges in their careers. Not the type of challenge that'll take them out of contention but to give them the experience of what they're going to face as their career goes on. When you face certain type of adversity, it'll assist you in making adjustments and thinking things through and not panicking when various challenges are met as the career resumes. Yeah. Mr. Shelton is out there. What's good with you, Mr. Shelton? Good to see you. Jay Gibson, that one judge that had it 114 to 113 had it for Nova, and Nova was even dropped in the fight. Come on, man. Are you serious? See, it's that type of foolishness, man. It really hurts the sport overall. I mean, hurts the sport tremendously. But I tell you, listen, that Curiel Nachinga fight, if you guys did not check that fight out, I am giving you a high recommendation right now to go watch the first fight. It's on DAZN. Go watch the first fight that took place in November and watch the fight from Friday night, the rematch. Those two men gave such effort in that rematch. You could clearly see the adjustments that Nachinga made in order to be successful in the rematch. Tremendous. Tremendous. I mean, I don't understand how he was able to weather the storm like he did in order to wear Adrian Curiel down and then take him out late. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. We got Lewis Hinton out there. What's good with you? King Vonnie 86. What's happening? Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. What's good with you, bro? Yeah. But you guys see what I'm talking about? Almost 50 something viewers. But it only showing up as 12 to 14 people and only 20 likes. What's that all about? Is the hate that strong that you'll come and you'll just be looking, just be looking? Bill Mahari says, I'm excited about Bivol versus Bitterby. Why? Why are you so excited about that fight? I just told you about a fight between two fighters you have no idea of. Adrian Curiel and Sivnati Natshinga. I just told you about those two guys. A fight that I guarantee if you watch it, you'll be like sitting there like, holy crap. But you're talking about two guys that is going to be an ultimate mismatch when they do face up. So you see, but that comes, and I'm saying this to you, Abel, this is not an attack on you, but it comes from all of these people out here that got big channels, some of them moderate channels, some of them are personalities that you all love and adore and all of that foolishness, but they don't know what they're talking about. And when the fights happen, you guys get disappointed, and then it's all F this dude and put that guy down and all of that other foolishness. And it's like, but because you weren't told, you weren't brought abreast of what the sport is really about and who you really should be paying attention to, but it's a popularity contest. You guys are worse than people in high school. The class clown, the valedictorian, the most popular dude, the most popular girl. No. Abel, it's nothing to apologize for. It's nothing, but see, and think about it. See, I know, I just said that this is not an attack on you. It's not. Guys, get out of your darn feelings, man. Be men. We're having a conversation. I'm telling you something. That don't mean you have to agree with what I'm saying, but I'm giving you factual information. When I tell you that there's a lot of people out here, they're talking boxing. They have channels. They have hundreds and thousands sometimes of people tuning into them. But they're talking popularity. They're talking who you should like and who you should have eyes on and stuff like that, but based on the theory of popular, but not on someone who's skilled, who brings value to the sport, who represents in the sport in a proper way, who performs night in and night out, who shows new wrinkles from match to match, who is able to change and adjust on the fly and raise their game. That's the person that you need to be tuned in and watching. That's the person that you should say, well, damn, I didn't know. And it's okay not to know, because it's okay to want to learn. Yeah. There's an image I have up on the screen right now. That's from the Nashinga Curiel rematch. This is how the fight was fought for like 9 rounds. You see how close they are to each other? Not a lot of clinching and holding. These men were fighting in a proverbial phone booth. And Nashinga, who dyed his hair blonde for whatever reason, after the first fight, he comes in Friday night like this. He was stopped in the second round in the first fight by a guy who only had 4 knockouts going into the fight with him with 20 plus fights. A 1-punch knockout over a lazy left hand that he thrown knocked him spark out. And speaking of spark, the referee of that fight, Sparkle, what's her name? Sparkle something, the lady. When he hit the canvas and his mouthpiece fell out of his mouth, she just waved it off and waved the doctors into the ring. He was out. But he came into this rematch with a game plan. He kept his left hand high like this. And he got in Curiel's chest and fought the Mexican style against him. Because when he got knocked out in the first fight, he was standing at a distance, and the looping overhand right is what caught him because he didn't see it over his lazy jab. And he fought a war of attrition with the guy inside until he began to weaken and get wary after the fight being grueling. And Nashinga was ready for that type of fight. Curiel wasn't. He thought he might be, but he started to get tired and run out of gas. And Nashinga took over. And he took him out in the 10th. Great fight, man. Great fight. But people are still talking about Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Guys who aren't fighting anybody. And there's so many for them to fight. They can fight each other, plus about 6 other dudes. But they've shown absolutely no interest. But they're in your face in the media every day, which is why I go and look a different direction. I don't want to see those guys. And the worst part of it is, Tank Davis is older than everybody. George Kambosos Jr. is about to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. Tank Davis should have fought that guy like 6 years ago. But these are the things that I talk about. Let's open it up. Let's see who wants to talk some boxing. We can still talk about this debacle that was Ortiz's unanimous decision loss to Teofimo. What in the world was that? Unbelievable. Hate is strong. I can feel the Sith out there. I ride with the Jedi. Dr. Mark, if you're clear, you could call in, man. Let's have a call. Let's have a conversation. I also heard that some news in the week that they said that Jared Anderson is returning to the ring. Who cares? Listen, the future of the heavyweight division is over there in the UK. This poster right here of a fight that was talked about a little over a week ago. These two men are going to face off. They are young. They are facing one another before things get too hot and heavy for any man. Fabio Wardley is taking on Big Frazier Clark, two UK hopefuls. Now, I believe that Wardley is the Commonwealth champion right now. But Frazier, who's had a good amateur career, is jumping into the fray with less than 10 fights. He's going in there against Wardley. In other words, these guys are trying to settle early who's going to be the man going forward and look to challenge for a title. Because remember, all the guys that are at the top right now are old guys. 37 on up. Huh? So, these men have bright futures ahead of them. And I like this. This is the way it used to be. And guess what? If it happens to be a good scrape, then they'll meet again. That's the difference with boxing of today as opposed to yesteryear. Guys just didn't want to face each other in the past. I mean, in this present. But in the past, they would. Fabio Wardley happens to be 17-0 with 16 KOs. He's 29 years of age. Frazier Clark is 8-0 with 6 KOs. He's 32. Okay, we got 651 in the building. Who's calling? What's on your mind?
Good morning, Stormybman, man. It's yours truly, Mr. Mahari Nation from the city of Minneapolis. How you doing, OG?
Hey, what's happening, Mahari Nation? How you doing this morning?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just came back from the gym and then just popped up of your channel here today, and just wanted to come in and chop in, my thoughts. But before I do that, just wanted to announce that my mom on Friday turned 55 years old.
Oh, happy birthday to your mother, man, and may she have many more. Listen, man, that's those double nickels. Quite a benchmark.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, man. 55 years old. Unbelievable. Make it that far. Amazing. That gives me some hope that I can eventually get there, but gotta live one day at a time.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If you keep making them boxing picks like you do, you ain't gonna make it, huh? And you better listen to Stormy a little more, because I'm gonna try to help pull you out of the doldrums, huh? Stop listening to them other dudes, man. I'm telling you. Stop listening to the popularity contest and listen to the textbook, huh? Because the textbook is there for a reason. It's there for sound foundation, brother, to establish a rock, huh? You can't establish the rock on sand, Huh? Yeah, but you got to do it on inland. Yeah.
Of course, of course. You know, the one thing that I will say is that you are right about this. You know, that fight that you were talking about, heavyweight bout in the UK. I wish we had more of that in today's boxing. You know, two up and coming fighters, you ready to scrap it out. You know, and seeing who's the better man, and then if they meet again for a championship, then they'll meet again. You know, it's a sad state of affairs that we don't got fights that, you know, with two young prospects going against one another, or two up and coming young fighters facing against one another to see who the better man, because it's a good foretelling storyline to figure out who's going to be the better person in that specific division. You know what I mean? So, and the thing that I get discouraged about in today's boxing here is that we are in a state of affairs where we have to wait for fights to quote unquote marinate, let it build up, this and that. And by the time the fight that we want happens, we're already pretty much not having no interest in talking about it, because they do the diligence of destroying, you know, the popularity of the fight. And I wish that more and more people would discover more boxing in other areas instead of looking for the most popular, you know, fighters to fight one another. Because if you're benching on them fighting each other, you're gonna turn gray and old if you're gonna be waiting. What do you think?
Well, you know I'm going to tell you what I think, so you don't even have to ask that question. But I'm going to begin with a question for you. Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
The marinating the marinating philosophy, the fact that guys don't want to face one another, or even early in the careers, the fact that you got popular sentiment behind certain individuals and not necessarily others and stuff like that. Why do you think all that is? Why do you think that exists?
Well, here's my belief, and this is my personal belief. My personal belief is these fighters today are so more conscious of keeping their undefeated records that they could care less if they fight against their own inferior rivals. They rather face against, you know, low end competition, make their money.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Repeat what you just said. I'll give you a moment to backtrack over it to repeat what you just said. Repeat it. Fighters today.
I'm going to say it again. The fighters of today are more worried about, you know, keeping their undefeated records instead of facing against their top competition. And they'd rather face against lower end competition, make their money, and leave it at that. And regardless of what the fans
okay. That's it. That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. Now, we're not talking about promoters. We're not talking about networks. We're talking about those individuals, right? Now, in what walk of life do you know that you are hired to do a job and they pay you before you do the work?
None whatsoever.
Thank you.
Rarely.
Thank you. There's nothing else to be said. Now, what is the purpose of a resume?
The purpose of the resume is to see what work you've done.
And
your experience.
And
what type of experience, what work have you done within that experience, and you have people speak on your behalf to tell you the quality of your work.
And whether or not you would qualify for the position that is available. Am I right?
That is correct.
Some of these fighters, what have they done to earn pay-per-view, to earn network consideration, to earn box office stardom? I can go on, but I'm pointing things out to you because what I want to share is the fallacy in this country, which is definitely founded on top of blood, literally, and sacrifice, literally, and there have been those who have reaped the benefits off of that didn't shed and didn't sacrifice, but they can manipulate and control others and do that dirty work for them while they still reap the benefit. Now, that being said, fighters in a sport which Mike Tyson has said it's the peddling of the flesh, boxing. And I love that quote from him because it is true. But you don't like to think of it like that. But that's exactly what it is. Prostitution of the physical nature. Yeah. My buck against your buck. But they'll throw you in jail for fighting dogs now, won't they? Yeah. In this country. Isn't there something hypocritical about that? Well, not to deviate from our subject and what we're talking about, but I'm bringing this to light because I want you to understand that in the UK, their fighters, they can be from Nottingham, they can be from some other city or whatever, and it's all boxing. It's not regional for them. It's the sport. They support the sport like it's college football over here. Okay? Now, that's why a Frazier Clark can be moved and compelled to get in the ring and compete against Fabio Wardley. What has Jared Anderson done here to make us tout him as the future heavyweight in the heavyweight division when he hasn't fought heavyweights in the heavyweight division to show us how good he may or may not be? I'll wait for an answer for that.
Well, to me, he hasn't.
Exactly. So as I said, before I put this poster up of these two men who are going to fight, I think that's, what's the proper date on that? That will be March 31st. That's a Sunday. They're going to fight in Greenwich Arena, March 31st in the UK. These two men, it'll be for the British Commonwealth heavyweight title and the BBBOC British heavyweight title. And one of these men, in the outcome of that fight, will catapult themselves with victory to be considered for a world title shot after the Fury Usyk stuff gets settled. And they will have earned that because in his last couple of fights, Wardley has faced Michael Coffey, who he got out of there really quick. I thought the ref kind of helped him in that fight, but it was still over there. And he fought David Adelaide. Now, Frazier Clark fought Marius Watch, who's like the UK version of a guy like what's the guy that's the former school teacher that was over here fighting in the heavyweight division? He fought Wilder. He fought all these different guys. It's like he's the same kind of guy. He's like a trial horse journeyman. He could give you rounds. If you happen to be really good, you get rid of the guy. And then he fought David Allen in his most recent fight. What I'm getting at is this. These guys are fighting guys that they know that they could. These guys, they will fight a couple of touches like that. And then what they'll do is go and fight contenders. And then they'll do their thing. you know? And that's what it's supposed to be. You move. You don't stay stagnant. You don't stay right in one place. You're seeing that. Well, after Anderson fought Prince Charles Martin, he was supposed to fight another world contending fighter. He went backwards. And he's going backwards even still with his next fight that they just announced that he's getting ready to fight someone who works at Pep Boys. But anyway, this is what I'm saying. You got to be able to make progressions. These guys over here are not making progressions. And the guys over there have progressed to the point that they're now legitimate contenders. That's the reality. You can like who you like and get mad all you want or whatever, but that's exactly what it is. Period, point blank. I don't like the fact that my wrenches are not handling the business. Stormybman has to come out here and take care of the work. I am thinking about taking away all of my wrenches on this channel because I don't get the support that I'm supposed to get. You guys just sit out there and you look around and you make comments on stuff that I'm not even talking about, stuff like that. And then when I do make a move, you come behind me and you do things like time people out and stuff when I've already eliminated the trash. So I'm thinking about getting rid of my wrenches. And I'm thinking about doing a great deal more of member-only broadcasts because I don't get the true support. At least the members are subscribed to me, so their money goes toward the benefit of the content that I produce, where I work hard to do these things. But some of you just soak things up like a sponge, and I don't like that. You don't even show any support. You don't send any super chats or anything like that. Not that this is all about that. But I could go other places and hear far less than what I have to offer. And then you guys are just making it rain. That's an insult to my intelligence. And I don't care who likes it and who don't. But it's a fact. I've eliminated 2 people already this morning, but none of my wrenches did anything. And I'm watching the chat. You're supposed to be listening to me, but I got to watch the chat and take care of the business too. What do I have you out here for? Dr. Mark, you know I got this call going on with Mahari Nation right now. I can't answer your call at this moment. This is ridiculous, man. This is what I talk about because I mentioned it many times. Over 1 million views to this channel. You don't have 1 million views and not be doing something that catches the eye. So you're going to tell me only 5,000 people out of 1 million viewers, will support me? No, something's wrong. The numbers ain't numbering. And then there are these people who create an account like a day ago, and then they come in here and try to write little stuff. But I got to police that. I got to encourage you. I got to uplift you. I got to powder and pamper your asses. And I can't get you to do what a wrench is supposed to do. Go ahead, Mahari Nation. Go ahead.
That's all good, man. It's all good. You know, it is what it, you know. The bottom line is people got to take responsibility for their own career, and more importantly, if you don't have the necessary fighters to really build yourself to being a true star, then why are you boxing for? And to go back on what you're talking about with Jared Anderson, to me, Jared Anderson is going to be a serious overachiever because he's not putting in the work to make himself into a great fighter. And I don't believe that he will be. And I know it's harsh, But you know what? That's the fact, and that's the reality of what I see. Because his mental makeup does not does not give me any confidence that he'll be a great fighter. He's going to be where he is, doing immature stuff, but not doing the necessary work. And to me, that's disappointing. And I think, and to me, his responses and the way he moves is a pretty much a microscope of how our society is today. People that are just want the attention, the clap, but not putting in the work. It's a sad, sad state of affairs, OG. It really is.
Right. But like I said, when you look across the pond, they have figured out the key to success. One is to get up with some of the veteran trainers that we offer over here. Two is to have the gumption, the initiative to want to be better than where they are presently. I was so happy when I saw the fight between Buatsi and Aziz to find out that Joshua Buatsi was still with Virgil Hunter, because, you know, he had been out of the ring for a long time and he had changed promoters. He went from, I think, the Zone to Sky and things like that. So, and Boxer with Ben Shalom over there. So I didn't know if he was still using Virgil Hunter as his chief second. And when in the fight I saw he was there, I was like, that's great, because in his fight against Craig Richard, he didn't look as good as he could have looked. He wasn't throwing left hooks. I was like, what's wrong with him? Buatsi has taken a huge step backwards. And then I later realized that maybe he was hurt and couldn't throw the left hook or whatever. But when he performed against Dan Aziz, he did very well, especially to be taking on a guy that you're so familiar with, that you sparred hundreds of rounds with in the gym, and that you've known since you were basically kids, teenagers or whatever. So that showed me a lot, you know, that he could still turn that switch and be a professional and go about his job. I actually believe Aziz had harder trouble dealing with Buatsi and having a friendship with him than Buatsi did, which, again, it just comes down to mental strength, knowing that you have to put something to the side to take care of business. And Buatsi passed that test tremendously. So again, he has risen a peg or two in my eye for showing me something to that degree. Now, who else, Mahari, I'm asking you and anybody that's freaking listening in the chat right now, who else is talking about that? Who else?
To be honest with you, nobody.
Thank you. But see, this is why when I talk about boxing like I do, and I was correcting you earlier, I wasn't coming down on you. I was showing you the difference of how when you talk about this, you have to talk about it from a position and a point of being fortified, standing on something solid, because the principles and merits of this, they're not new. They're old. They're tried and true. You can hang a hat to it, set a clock to it. But you got these guys with this new fashionable thing of popularity. Man, popularity goes in and out faster than trends. Somebody can be popular this morning, and by the end of the day, everybody hate the dude, right? That's the way it works in society. But when you're good, somebody got to try to take that from you, right? And when you're bad, they just step over you, right?
Yep, exactly. Exactly, you're right on the money. So, and, you know, people don't talk about what you talk about a lot on these channels, and it's a damn shame, because there's a lot more out there. People just start discovering and start researching, including myself. So I got to do more on my part, and you always provide that kind of intelligence, you know, and give the real that people don't want to hear, but it's the facts.
When you see boxing and you see something go bad with it, and you'd be like, oh, the judges screwed this one off, or oh, the ref asserted himself when he shouldn't have, or whatever. You know, there's a consistency when I'm out here talking about certain things, but I only hear guys say this when it's something that they're invested in, a fight that they're watching in particular, or fighters that they like in particular, or whatever, and then that's when it becomes something. I talked about this referee, Steve Wills, over the weekend, how in his fight, refereeing that fight between Foster and Nova, dude, he was not involved too much at all. And when the guys were like mixing it up and they were in close or whatever, he might tell them, punch your way out or whatever, or he might stick his hand in and pull an arm out from holding and step away from the action and let the guys resume. That is quality officiating. But we see all these other officials who jump in there, just like in the Curiel fight with Natshinga. In that, what was that, the 10th round, when Natshinga had Curiel hurt, he had him up against the ropes and he was just putting a bag drill on him, going at him. And the referee jumped in. It looked like he might be jumping in to stop it, but he pushed Natshinga back and gave Curiel a standing 8 count. I've talked about that in the past. I said these referees can do that. And here we have a situation where it happened right there spontaneously. And the referee jumped in. He gave him a standing 8 count. He let the fight resume. Natshinga jumped on him again. He didn't recover. He didn't, I'm talking about Curiel. He didn't do the things he needed to do to tie the guy up or whatever. And then the ref stepped in and stopped the fight. It was a TKO victory in the 10th round. But I've talked about this. I don't hear nobody else talking about these kind of things. But when I talk about it, I'm not talking about like, oh, I think I know so much about boxing. I'm talking about it to let people know that there are ways to handle these things. And sometimes when the corruption is seeping through here, there's a reason that you can call it corrupt. But if you don't know what the corruption is, the total abandonment of rules and regulations, then you should shut up. How many times do you see referees intervene and issue a standing 8 count? Rarely. When Tony Weeks stepped in a few weeks ago in that fight where Ortiz came back against that guy, he stepped in there and stopped that fight so fast. When he stepped in against the old man, against Roley, he didn't issue no standing 8 count or nothing. And the old man wasn't even hurt. The shots that Roley was throwing wasn't even landing. When a referee behaves like that, he should be held accountable. He should be suspended. He should be investigated. They should be looking into his bank records to see if he took some money. Because I'm telling you, it's right there in front of your face. But if you're talking about the wrong things all the time, if you're talking about Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, and Canelo and all of that stuff every other day, then guys like these two men who I have on this poster here, Wardley and Clark, they get overlooked by the boxing public and the sentiment that should be supporting them because they are doing it the right way. But you got all this sewage in front of you. The sport needs to be cleaned up. But they're not going to clean it up if you don't demand it. They're going to soil it up even more. What you going to do? Complain once the sewage reaches your chin? When you're just about to go under? Nah.
Yep, 100%. Nothing else needs to be said. But thanks a lot for taking my call, Stormybman, man. I appreciate, the lecture and the teaching for me today. Applying it a little bit more. And definitely, I got to start doing a little bit more research about a lot more boxing than obviously the usual people that people like to talk about.
Listen, you can do yourself a tremendous favor by just watching the sport, man. Watching fights. Watch fights that, who are these guys? I don't even know them. Sit down and watch them and watch what happens. Yeah. That's how you do that. But I appreciate your call, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Peace to you. Salute to the brother Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Dr. Mark, line is open. You can try to call in now if you like, sir. $70-something people. This Clark and Wardley fight is a good heavyweight fight between young heavyweights that should be facing each other. Okay, we got 706 in the building. Who's calling? What's on your mind?
What's going on, OG, man? It's King Vonnie, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's happening, King Vonnie? How you doing this morning, bro?
I'm blessed, man. Just enjoying the day, man. How you doing?
I'm a little heavy this morning, man. I got some things going on, but I'm trying to push through, persevere, and get my mind in a certain place to get ready to take care of some things. But that's about it. Not crying, but just being real with the realities of life. That's all.
Word. As far as what I want to talk about for boxing, man, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say I've been let down by boxing, man, but I'm kind of, I don't want to say kind of callous. I done got a little hardened towards boxing, man, and kind of fell back into a little pocket or whatnot. Like, I don't want to talk no more. I just really want to see the fights, man. Like, all the talking is really done with a lot of these fights. All these fighters, man, like, it's kind of overdone. You feel me? Like, all the Tank and Devin talk, we already know, okay, we can talk that into oblivion. We know what time it is with that. Okay, and the Errol and Bud talk, it seems like that's kind of dying down. Who knows what's going on with that? And then, you know, Tank still ain't fighting nobody, so it's like, okay, who cares at this point? And it's like, man, I'm just tired, man. And then Wild getting his stuff together, all, you know, off yonder doing his thing. You know, I'm waiting for that. You know, who knows what's going on with EJ, God bless him. And it's just like, man, I'm just tired, bro. It's like all we do is really talk about boxing. We watch the fights we watch, but it's like we never get any of the fights we talk about. And when we get them, they not all that. They like, like I put all everything I had into that Bud and Errol fight, and it was a blue, bro. Like, that was like the most surefire thing that I could ever think that was going to be a surefire fight, and it was not. And it's like, dang, bro, we got to wait so long to be disappointed. It's like, I'm just tired, bro. So I'm putting all my energy towards other things, like my nutrition and my marriage and my personal well-being, and just thinking of things of that nature, man, because, you know, that's really what really matters, you know. And I'm just doing my best with boxing at this point.
Well, those things should matter to you. You know, regardless of whether you watch boxing or a different sport or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, if you listen to my interview, the call that I just had with Mahari Nation, I pointed out to you what the problems are. And I'm going to ask you a question and put this in form of an analogy for you. Boxing is a hell of a sport. However, if you go to the buffet, you're going to pretty much get exactly what you like, right? You're going to put as much of it on your plate as you can. People do that. They gorge themselves. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Check this out. What's your favorite meal? What is your favorite meal? Not Thanksgiving or whatever, but on any day of the week, what is your favorite meal that you don't mind coming home to, whether somebody else cooked it for you or you cooking it for yourself? What's your favorite meal?
Probably roast beef.
Roast
Something
beef.
like pot roast or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, now check this out. If there's no pot roast, aren't you still going to eat?
Yeah.
You're going to eat something, ain't you?
Right.
Huh? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You ain't going to wait on the damn pot roast. You know what? My stomach growling. Huh? I don't care if you got to put a couple of slices of bologna in the skillet with some onions and everything. You going to eat, ain't you?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Well, those guys that you named in the sport of boxing, are they the only ones in the sport of boxing?
No, sir.
Mm-hmm. And did you just not hear me talk about these two men that are on this poster on my screen here? Frazier Clark and Fabio Wardley, two young heavyweights. One is 28 years old, the other's 32 years old. And they are getting ready to fight each other. One ain't even got 10 fights yet. But it's the biggest step-up fight he could have in his career against Wardley. And Wardley is taking on probably the best UK prospect right now presently. So it's like they are putting their necks on the line career-wise because they want to advance. Both of them have something greater to go for. So they know that they're in one another's way to do this. Who else is talking about this?
Nobody.
Thank you. Maybe the UK channels. Yeah. But this is an example. You had Friday night, O'Shaquie Foster taking on Abraham Nova. I did a breakdown video on it. This was a very damn good fight. It was not a split decision victory. I thought it was a unanimous decision victory for O'Shaquie. Not because Abraham didn't do enough or whatever. O'Shaquie showed greater versatility, including fighting a few of the rounds in southpaw position. So, especially having hurt himself early in the fight. People didn't talk about that. He hurt his arm, but he never complained. He continued to fight as if there was nothing wrong, and he won the fight. He even dropped the guy. Teofimo Lopez, over a week ago, fought a guy who outboxed him for 12 rounds and got a unanimous decision and threw less punches, landed less punches, and everything was doctored up and made up for him to be victorious because that network is trying to push him. O'Shaquie just won a fight prior to Friday where he went into Hernandez's hometown of Culiacan, Mexico, and had to knock the guy out to get his victory, and he did. He's everything that boxing needs to be shown, to be talked about, to be uplifted and marketed and everything. He's a well-spoken young man. He's had some troubles in his personal life, but it hasn't deterred him from trying to be the best fighter he can be. But who's talking about him? See, this is what I'm saying. If you don't know how to watch the sport, one thing you can do is stop listening to everybody else. Because what happens when you do that, you can be influenced by popularity. And that's the whole thing. I talked about that early in this show. The popularity contest is like when people are in high school. Guys who are on the football team, they got a certain group that admire and look up to them and follow them. Guys who are on the basketball team, same thing. But the guy who's on the chess team or those who are in the glee club, don't nobody care about them, do they? No. You see? But are they still every bit as important? Yeah, because when you get out in everyday life, those people typically get some pretty decent jobs and go on about their life. They become tax-paying citizens and stuff. But the guys on the football team, the guys on the basketball team, the ones who thought they might go to college and do all of that and one day have NBA aspirations and NFL and they don't make it, they knocking you in your head when you coming home from work. You leave the currency exchange or the bank or something like that. Here they are, standing on the corner in your neighborhood. This is what I'm talking about. A guy can go away to prison for 5 years and come home, and his boys is like, yo, old dog is home. Let's throw a party and everything. Another guy that you knew growing up from kids, come home from college. He's ready to be an attorney. And somebody shoot him in the neighborhood. They shoot him, It's like, when are we gonna get our priorities straight, bro? When are we gonna stop the foolishness? It's exhibited in almost everything you do out here. I've had 3 trolls come into this chat since I started my live stream at 10:30 a.m. And not one of my wrenches dealt with them. I had to deal with them myself. But they my wrenches, though. What the hell? Why? This is why I'm talking about taking the wrenches, because you're not supporting. You're not doing what you're supposed to do as wrenches. And now it's almost 80-something people looking at my show, but I got 14 concurrent viewers and only 33 likes. What the hell are they looking at me for? Seriously.
I don't know. Game.
Somebody out there wrote something about, oh, this OG is boring. What the fuck are you doing here?
They do that though. I mean, you really can't.
No, it's not that I don't understand, King Vonnie. It's not that I don't understand. What I'm doing is I'm projecting the ignorance of why you're doing what you're doing. I came up here with purpose today. I didn't come up here to mess with people or to stick a needle in someone's ass or something like that, because someone out there benefits from what I do tremendously. And that person may not be one who says it. They just may be hitting that like button, one of the 33 out there, which is an interesting number, one of those, but they will be there and be looking for me. When I've put messages on my community page and I say Stormy ain't gonna do his live stream today or tonight or whatever, not up for it or whatever, got something going, oh, get well, OG, hope you feel better, this and that, blah, 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 hitting the like button, sending hearts, sending prayers, all of that kind of stuff. But these trolls, they come out here and they're trying to purposely distract and detract and get you off course. But see, as wrenches, if you're true, you're supposed to be looking and ready for that. You're supposed to be like the National Guard. You're supposed to be able to pick them off like snipers. That's what your job is supposed to be.
Yeah, I have to put my phone down. I'm just listening, and I ain't know what's going on.
No, but I'm explaining here. Don't take it personal. I'm explaining the fact of, see, we all have a job to do. And that's the whole thing. But if I could see it when I'm out here and I'm multitasking here. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to the audience, I'm watching the chat, I'm watching my ratings, I'm watching a lot of different things. And if I can multitask like that, but someone is just in the chat, they can't do the one thing that we've asked wrenches to do, then I don't need you. Seriously. And that's what I be trying to, and all of this, it goes right along with what we're talking about this sport of boxing. If you tuned in to hear me talk about boxing, that's exactly what you hear me talk about. I can talk about it inside, out, up, down, through the middle, through the floor. And the thing about it is, I can do more and more and more. Why? Because I'm invested that way. That's not something that is putting someone else down or whatever. But when you come here with someone who has purpose. This is not just puffing on a cigar and talking crap. And every once in a while, I might mix a few jokes in or something like that. But it's never to play. Because there's someone somewhere. This is going out to the world. There's someone somewhere that's getting something good out of this. And there's someone out there that's thinking it ain't worth a damn. But for those who think it's not worth a damn, it ain't for you. Don't I always say, it ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't going to make it. That's what it is. If it don't apply, then don't worry about it and let it fly.
Right. And to speak to your point, what you were saying about those fights, like honestly, if it ain't like a big marquee fight, it tends to not really grab my attention. I'm not trying to say it's not important, but it's kind of like watching college basketball to me. It's like I don't really care. I don't watch college basketball. I gotta watch the NBA, and I don't watch that until like the playoffs or the finals. You know, like I really want to see the big matchups. And if I don't know the backstory of it, I'm not really gonna be invested in it. You know what I'm saying? These new guys, I gotta see them more. Like Osaka, I'm waiting on him. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting on Osaka to like. I see he got a little buzz going to get his name going, but I need to see him more. Like I'm really, I don't want to just make it me kind of like a casual.
But have you watched Oshaki's last 3 fights though?
I have not.
Okay, that's your fault. Now, no, listen, I'm getting on you now. Check this out.
Okay.
Over his last 3 fights, he has progressed. He has shown some things that is like you want to see from some of the other guys that you know who aren't doing these things. But Oshaki has shown he has come from behind to win. He has been life and death and won. He has been in the hostile environment and won with a needed knockout. And then this fight, he won this fight Friday easily, but they called it a split decision, even though he dropped the guy late in the fight and things of that nature. But he did not complain. He was injured and he persevered like a pro. Those are progressions that if you're watching good fighters, that is what sets a groundwork for them becoming great, because he has had some transitions, had some circumstances where he's had to turn corners. Guys who were so great just knocking out everybody you know that they put in with him and everything, because on paper that guy wasn't even tabbed to beat him. I heard people say the Oshaki Nova fight was a 50-50 fight. I didn't even pick a winner in the fight when I did my breakdown because I knew the quality of the match. But when I saw the fight and I saw Oshaki doing certain things, I'm like, this kid is pretty damn good. Not that I didn't think he was good before the fight, but I'm watching him make adjustments during the fight. Abraham was going to try to be physical with him from the onset. Kano Local Sports and Opulent LD did a show this morning, a stream, and he was saying that Nova ran out of gas. And I wrote in his chat, I said, not necessarily ran out of gas. Oshaki put some body work on him that debilitated him. He hit him with a couple of left hooks to the breadbasket and to the floating rib that made Abraham Nova not be as aggressive as he was earlier in the fight. And then it opened up other things for Oshaki to do with that shotgun jab that he has. He had the guy leaking from the mouth and the nose by the second round. That gold blonde beard he had was full of blood. Oshaki can fight, man. And the thing is, he's not afraid. He moves. He's got good footwork. He can move around the ring. He can get in close. He can box from outside. He showed that he can turn southpaw. And these are things that are happening like right before your eyes. But ain't nobody talking about it. You know why? Because he's not that guy that the network is trying to push. That's why those announcers are full of crap. Because they're supposed to be telling you because they're experienced people. They should be able to tell you, just like Stormybman is telling you, this guy is good. Look at what he's doing. But they don't do that because they know that people are easily influenced. That's why they was telling you that T.O. was doing better than he was, and then it became a controversial thing. It was no controversy. It was corruption. It was the fact that the judges was trying to keep T.O. alive in that fight. And Tim Bradley playing both sides of the fence, trying to act like during the fight, Teofimo was just about to do something to turn everything around, but that never freaking happened. Then after the fight, he pretended like he was upset with the decision. Get out of here, man. Get your two-faced Eminem head ass out of here when you doing that kind of stuff, because there are people out here easily influenced. Don't you know that people watch these TikTok videos and stuff, and they go out there and they try to do stupid stuff like they see, and they get hurt, and people in the hospital, people lose their lives, all that foolishness because of the influences. So when I'm out here, I'm trying to influence in the most positive of ways by telling you the real. I ain't trying to sugarcoat nothing. I ain't trying to pretend. I'm telling you the facts. Now, some people don't like the facts, but that's too damn bad because we live in a real world, not a world of reality. We in the real shit, and it ain't always pleasant. What stinks, stinks. And this is what we have to take hold of, man. It's like if you don't do that, what happens is people will just check out, huh? There's so much to watch other than Earl Spence and Crawford and Canelo and Shakur and Tank. There are all these other beautiful fighters out here, guys who are talented, and they deserve for somebody to talk about them. I was just talking about Buatsi and Aziz, those two men, a grudge match between friends. They didn't harbor ill will toward each other, but they were in one another's way, and somebody had to put friendship aside so that they could move forward, and it turned out to be Buatsi. He was able to put their friendship to the side and progress beyond his friend, and he grew up a lot in that fight because he did some things that he didn't want to do. And it shows the levels of a man being able to progress. And that's what this is about at the end of the day. It ain't about how many unathletic, non-movement having guys you can knock out. It's about guys who can bring the best out of you and see what you can do to get better if you can't succeed. Go back to the, drawing board. Not just have it all your way. Calvin Ford on that interview with Marco let the cat out of the bag when he said that why would we want to face Shakur when he won't let us do what we want to do? Are you kidding me? Do what you want to do. What is that? Continue to rip the fans off?
Exactly.
That's why I said I don't give nothing. This Jared Anderson getting ready to come back and fight another dude that you don't know, huh? Some dude that used to work at Pep Boys, huh? Or a bar somewhere downtown. He's getting ready to fight someone like that. Once he falls Prince Charles Martin, who put some fear of God in him, then he got to go get a comfort animal and all of that foolishness. What is wrong with this kid? I'm only 23. He's crying to Roy Jones.
Right. I think the reason I don't really pay much mind into, like, as far as trying to locate all these other fighters is because the fighters I follow have been doing some real, like, dynamic things, like Wilder getting a statue, dealing with the Fury saga, like Spence dealing with the car accidents, and then dealing with the Bud saga, and then Devin going to Australia and doing all the overcoming everything he did and all the stuff he overcoming. So I'm kind of tied up with those storylines. I'm not trying to find nothing new. I know little Carmel doing his thing a little bit. I know like Oshaki. Those are kind of in my peripheral, but I'm not following anybody until they become mainstream, and that might be somebody to grow on. But that's my reason. Like, I just been tied up with all this other stuff, emotionally tied up. I've been emotionally tied up in all these other storylines, so that's the reason I haven't been trying to find anybody else worth following that I haven't already seen. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the reason.
Let me ask you a question, King Bonnie. And it's not to put you out there or nothing, but what age group are you in, bro? I'm asking for a specific reason. Huh?
I'm 37, born in 86.
Okay.
37.
Check this out. This is what I used to do. Now they don't have it like that now, but there used to be a Mexican channel called Telemundo.
I remember that.
And Telemundo used to have fights on sometimes on Friday nights and Saturday nights. And it'd be broadcast in Spanish. It wasn't always just Spanish fighters. They had American fighters on there and fighters from different parts of the world. But I used to turn Telemundo on, not even knowing what the announcers were saying or whatever, but I'm watching the boxing matches. And I used to watch these fights, some of the fighters I had never even heard of before and everything. But man, what it began to do for me is just by watching boxing, I was able to understand what I was looking at in the ring. And that was because I had an interest in it. I was like, man, and I'm watching different styles, different types of, scenarios to play out in the fights and stuff like that. It's one of the things that I do when I tune in and I watch fights that are on now. Like I mentioned, I watch the ESPN fights. I come back Saturday morning, I watch the DAZN fights because they were on at the same time Friday evening. And what I learned just from watching those fights and watching some of those young fighters do what they do, it's like, see, that's where the fun is. When you see the guys coming up, trying to learn, trying to do things. That damn Bruce Carrington, I like what I saw from him. But what did I say? I said they need to get him out of New York now. Yeah, it's nice to have your little fan base right there, and you're going to keep feeding them guys that he going to beat spectacularly in front of his home crowd. But it's time for him to step up his level of competition and fight outside of New York. He can always come back to New York, just like Shakur went back to New Jersey recently in a couple of fights. You can always do that, but the whole thing is to progress, to get to another level, to start feeling around with something else, because what will happen is as you gain that experience, you add that to your toolbox, and now you've got something to offer when you go in and you're prepared to the offerings that come your way. But if you only stay like what Tank has done, Tank has stayed moderated. He has never been in a fight where he's been challenged, where he got to come from behind, where he got to figure out how to win, where he's got to adjust to what the other guy is doing to him in order to be successful. They just putting him in against guys that he could beat, as soon as he get to him, as soon as he can hit him, it's over. Life is not like that.
Hey, OG, I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Tank kind of let me down, man. Like, for real. I really, I just thought he was really who he said he was. He's tough, he doing all these things, but nah, bro, you don't do the things he do if you is who he say he is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, see, but who do you say he is? See, I've never said who he is. One thing I know is he's better than what his people will allow him to show. They are trying to keep him within a cocoon. And I'm going to tell you one of the major reasons that I think that they're doing this. Because they're living off of him. Not nobody else, just him. Now, slowly, you hear them mentioning, and you just mentioned, the young man Camille name. He's supposed to be the replacement. But see, I'm going to tell you something. Those are the worst kind of people. Because they act like they're your friends. They act like they down for you. They act like they looking out for you. But no, they're like leeches and vultures, bro. They're eating off of your carcass. That's what they're doing.
I think Camille's smarter than Tank, man. I think he's just more intellectual than Tank.
It doesn't matter whether he is or not. But I know one thing. Once they start convincing him of the game that they pimp him on, he's going to be right up under that too. One of the worst guys is that guy Leonard Ellaby. I'm just going to say it straight out. This has nothing to do with color. It has to do a lot with ethic. And there are people out here, man, if they can, there's an old saying when I was growing up, if somebody bust your head, let them bust it to the white meat. You understand? Leonard has capitalized on that. He has. And the thing about it is, there's been so much more opportunity for Tank. Why has he not fought Vasyl Lomachenko all these years? Why? He's younger, talented, more powerful. He seems to have more speed and things of that nature. He can box as well, Tank. But why haven't you put him in there against the guy? Because Tank could have ended Lomachenko's existence in boxing. All this time, he's been thriving and surviving because Tank didn't step up to the plate and handle that business. You know why? Because they were too afraid. What if he lose, though? You can't live your life wondering about if you lose or not. You gonna be scared to go outside and feel the rays of the sun?
You see that last part again, ain't he?
What's that?
I ain't hear that last part. Somebody rays of the sun.
Yeah, I said you can't be afraid to go outside. You're gonna feel the rays of the sun. You go outside. The sunlight is nourishing for you. We need it.
Yeah.
It provides life. And the funny thing about it, when someone's being sheltered, you keep the training wheels. What would you look at? You see a grown man riding a bike down the street, but it had training wheels on it. What would you say?
Damn fool.
So why aren't we saying this about guys like Tank and the way he's being managed with his career? Because that's what they're doing. They're keeping the training wheels on. And who are they training? Are they training him or the people observing him? Wow. Think about it.
Yeah, because I believe Tank believes everything he say. I believe he is the toughest SOB out here. But everybody else sees something different. You know, Devin, he believes in himself the way he should, and I believe Tank does as well. But like you say, the people around Tank see something different, man. And they handle it like that.
Well, the thing is, Tank, you know, he has adopted the philosophies that they've implanted in his mind. You know, it's like he talks like they talk, his handlers, you know, and that's unfortunate because even you just heard me say Calvin Ford, his coach and trainer, said, you know, why would we fight Shakur when he won't let us do what we want to do? What is that supposed to really mean? You're supposed to be like, man, we can fight whoever. We're going to take them all. We're going to whoop them all. That's what you have to do. You instill that type of confidence in Tank. You know who else did this? And my brother Drew Titan has pointed this out. That's why Tank is so close to like Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson was the same way. He built up this reputation, and then he didn't live up to the reputation because he didn't fight the way the repped. You see? And the thing is, eventually you have to cross that line and be like, okay, I'm real. Well, you get to be real by facing the real, not avoiding it. Do you know that there was an opportunity for Mike to have a rematch with Buster Douglas, and he didn't?
No, never.
Did you know that there was an opportunity for Mike to fight Ray Mercer, and he didn't? Did you know that there was an opportunity for Mike to fight Riddick Bowe, and he didn't? Mike was supposed to fight Lennox Lewis after he defeated Frank Bruno, because Lennox Lewis was the WBC #1 contender, and Mike gave up the WBC belt after winning it for a second time when he beat Bruno in his rematch. And then they went to fight Bruce Seldon for his WBA belt, and Bruce Seldon laid down for Mike. Didn't even try to fight, didn't even try to win. When he won the belt from Tony Tucker in a gruesome fight where he outboxed Tony Tucker, swole Tony Tucker's eyes shut almost like he might have broke an orbital or something with that powerful left jab that he has. Bruce Seldon. But he never came out and tried to fight Mike Tyson at all. Soon as Mike threw a punch at him, he fell on the floor. And the worst part of that, the reason that you finally got Tyson and Holyfield was because Holyfield had fought Bobby Chess in a fight on a night of heavyweight cards where Lennox fought Ray Mercer and Tim Witherspoon fought on that card or whatever. And then you had Holyfield fought Bobby Cheers, and he looked really bad against Bobby Cheers because Bobby Cheers was hanging with Holyfield, who was a former 2-time heavyweight champion, and Bobby Cheers came up from the light heavyweight division and everything, and he's in there hanging with Holyfield, but Holyfield eventually got him, right? Famous fight that they said that, Holyfield might have had something on his gloves because Bobby Cheers said his eyes was burning. Yeah. Now, because Holyfield looked so bad, Don King said, we're going to fight Holyfield. But not because Holyfield was who he was, but because he looked bad in the last fight. They thought he was washed up. And Holyfield had a career night against Mike Tyson because he had always wanted to fight Mike, always looked toward that fight as the defining fight that this is going to give me my credit for being a real heavyweight and a real heavyweight champion. And he goes in there and whoops Mike Tyson's butt. So think about it. If Mike had had the tougher fights, like I mentioned, the guys he didn't fight, Buster a second time, Lennox, fighting guys like Ray Mercer and all of that, fights that would have, even if he loses the fights, you go through something tough. Because Holyfield had lost to Michael Moore. He had lost to Riddick Bowe. You know what I'm saying? It's like he went through some stuff. Right. So you can't continue to go through your life having it easy and thinking, everybody else going to lay down. And when people realized that he really wasn't as bad as the rep, they started standing up to him even more. Do you remember the tragic last fight of Mike Tyson's career where he was sitting on that damn canvas rope looking at the ref counting at him and he made a decision not to get up? Where was the baddest man on the planet then? Where was he? He wasn't even in their zip code that night.
Hey, Storm, I want to speak to that parallel between Tank and Mike Tyson real quick, man. That while you was talking, I had just drifted off into this thought. Like my whole I ain't say right. My whole criticism with Mike Tyson was that he ain't fight nobody. That's my criticism. And when he did fight somebody, he lost.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When he fought somebody real. So my thing.
That's what Teddy Atlas said, and people got mad at him for saying it.
Right. The parallel between him and Tank is like, my thing is like, dang, did Mike Tyson really move like Tank moving, like fighting the Ryan Garcias of the world and all that stuff, and then he scared of, like, when he finally get in the ring with a Devin Haney or a Shakur Stevenson who won't let him do what he do, then he gonna get his butt whooped. I'm sitting over here thinking like, no, don't be that dude, man. Don't go out like that.
That's exactly what's gonna happen, though.
That's right.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Mike Tyson had people shook up like Andrew Galata and Lou Savarese, beating those guys upside the head, and they fall down like bowling pins. But when he's in there against somebody tough, like what was his name? Danny, forget that guy's name. Danny Williams, the British heavyweight. He fought Mike back. And of course Holyfield and Lennox and those guys, they fought him back and beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you got guys like Orlin Norris and the White Buffalo. These guys go in there with him and they fake injuries and stuff and they lay down because of the intimidation factor. When people weren't intimidated, Mike had problems.
Right. Absolutely. And Storm ain't gonna try to line up. I know I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy talking to you. And I pray your day get better, man. God bless you. And I know you're a blessing to YouTube and everybody who fucks with you, man. We appreciate you, man. So don't feel like you ain't appreciated. And my bad, we let a troll slip through, man. But we on your side, big dog. Whatever you gotta do, I'm with it. Take the wrenches, whatever you gotta do, I'm still gonna support it. But
yeah.
I hope you have a better day, man. God bless you, bro, and you're a blessing, man.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna try to line up, man. Yes, sir. God bless you, Chad. God bless you and everybody, man. God bless the LGBT, man. I'll holler at y'all.
Thank you, King Vonnie. Much appreciated. Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I want to say salute to my brother Eric Jordan out there with that super chat. He said supporting the sensei. I know that we were really cooking. Eric, I wasn't ignoring you. Thank you for your super chat. But we were cooking real tough there, and I wanted to wait until we were able to finish and have that break in the action to acknowledge that. But if you're still out there, much appreciated for your donation. And I see KP from KC is out there. JDM is out there saying he got tickets for the fight. Cooking with the Champ is out there. What's going on with you, man? Appreciate you. And Snoopy Mac in the building as well. Yeah. But, you know, this is what it is, man. You know, Stormy, I talk about this boxing thing, man. You know, I do it my way, but how I do it is very important, man. How I do it is very important. So, but, yeah. So this is what it is. But, we're going to get ready. I've got some, want to get this commercial out here. My man, the Focus Ball. Focus Ball, what's good?
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah, get you some of that Stormybman merchandise, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. But hey, it's been a heck of a show this morning, man. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we're going to catch you guys next Sunday for another Answering the Bell. Peace to everybody, and everybody have a great week ahead. Peace.
this not why you were here?